Hello everyone, my name is Lisa. I'm 29 years old and currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, though I'm planning to move soon. Recently, I ended a difficult year-and-a-half-long marriage. It was a challenging time, but with my father's support and the intervention of the police, I managed to get through it. Looking back, I realize I should have been more cautious before accepting the proposal. I've always been shy and reserved, finding comfort in solitude. Most of my time is spent on my computer, immersed in the digital world. Occasionally, I'll visit a pub for a drink, but I'm uneasy around strangers and hesitant to form new friendships out of concern for my safety. My life changed significantly when I was 7. My mother passed away from an untreated heart condition, and from that moment on, my father, a mariner since his mid-20s, raised me. His job kept him away for long stretches, but he always stayed in touch through calls and letters. When my mother died, he returned home to comfort me. I still remember clinging to him at her funeral as he reassured me, "It's okay now, my little girl, Daddy's here." That night, I saw him cry on the couch, whispering to himself before burying his face in a cushion. It was only the second time I'd seen him cry. The first was when I was injured as a child, feeling responsible for our situation. He took 3 months off from sailing to care for me. Before his next voyage, he left me in my grandmother's care, encouraging me to help her and promising to return soon. Those early years of loss and resilience shaped me. I spent most of my time indoors, helping my grandmother and finding solace in books and, later, the internet. By the time I started college, my father sent me back to our old house. Adjusting was hard. I disliked campus life and struggled to connect with others in person, but online, I found confidence. The internet became my refuge, a place where I could express myself freely. I made friends from around the world, each with unique stories that showed me how interconnected we all are. It was here I met Steven, a content creator. We started chatting and eventually progressed to video calls. To keep my anonymity, I wore a Batman mask, and he covered his face with a scarf and beanie. "Hi Lisa, it's great to finally see you," Steven greeted during one of our calls. "Hello Steven, nice to meet you, virtually," I replied. "How are you feeling today? Have you chatted with many people?" he asked. "I'm okay, just a bit nervous," I admitted. "That's normal, don't worry, I'm just as awkward as you," he reassured me with a smile. As we talked, we discovered shared interests and exchanged stories. The connection felt natural, and I began to feel at ease. "Thanks for making this so effortless," I said. "The feeling's mutual, Lisa, you're great to talk to. Let's chat again sometime, I'm usually online playing Mario," he joked. Our conversations deepened over time, and though we only knew each other online, we formed a meaningful bond. Meanwhile, my father remained cautious about my online activities. Over dinner recently, he asked about my plans. "So, how are your studies, Dove?" he asked. "I've graduated, Dad," I replied, a hint of sharpness in my voice. "You wouldn't know, you weren't there." He sighed, looking regretful. "Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry, I know I missed a lot. I even emailed you saying I'd be there for your birthday." "Tomorrow's my pumpkin's birthday," he exclaimed, trying to lighten the mood. "Stop calling me names, Dad, I'm not a kid anymore. To me, you'll always be my little dove." "But seriously, what are your plans? Are you thinking of working?" "I'm not sure yet," I admitted. "What do you mean you're not sure? What are your friends up to these days?" His questions made me reflect on where my life is heading. While I'm uncertain about the future, I know that both the digital and real-world experiences have shaped me. For now, I'll take one step at a time, guided by the lessons I've learned along the way. "I don't have any friends, Dad," I finally admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. My dad sighed deeply. "Lisa, I didn't send you to live with your mom's family just so you could stay cooped up inside all day. There's a whole world out there. So many people you'll never meet if you don't step outside." "That's the problem," I said, exasperated. "I don't know how to." This exchange exposed the gulf between us, his world of tangible connections and mine, rooted in the digital realm. Still, I relented. "I'll try, okay? I do have friends, but they're all online." "Online friends?" Dad shook his head, disappointment creeping into his voice. "That's not how real friendships work, Lisa." I sighed, the weight of his disapproval pressing down on me. "Fine, how about this, we go out today, just you and me, shopping or something?" "That sounds like a start," he said, his tone softening. "You've got to push yourself, Lisa, this isn't living. I know it's been hard since Janice." "Why are you bringing Mom into this?" I snapped. anger bubbling to the surface. What are you trying to say? I'm saying we've both been stuck in the past, he said gently, though his words stung. We loved her, but we have to find a way forward, Lisa. His well-meaning words ignited something in me. I slammed my hands on the table, the clatter echoing in the room. You don't understand me, I spat, standing abruptly. Lisa, please, I'm trying to help you, Dad pleaded, his voice tinged with frustration and hurt. You don't know everything about me, so stop pretending you do, I shouted before storming off, my emotions in turmoil. I retreated to my sanctuary, my room, my computer, and the reassuring presence of Stephen on the other end of the screen. Stephen, you won't believe the argument I just had with my dad, I vented. Tell me what happened, he replied, his voice calm and understanding. I poured out my frustrations, the sense of being misunderstood, my dad's inability to grasp why I found solace online. Stephen listened patiently, never judging. Hey, he said after a moment, would you want to meet up sometime? We're both introverts, so it doesn't have to be anything big, just a quiet place where we can talk. His suggestion startled me. I'm not sure, it feels so sudden, I'd need time to think about it, I said, my voice hesitant. Take all the time you need, Stephen replied warmly, whenever you're ready, you know where to find me, here's my address. Why are you so kind to me? We're just strangers, I asked, confused by his unwavering support. Because I like you, Lisa, he admitted simply. You, like me? My voice wavered with disbelief. Yeah, he said softly, I'd like to get to know you better, and if you ever feel the same, I'm here. Meeting Stephen felt like a leap into the unknown, but one I knew I needed to take. Standing outside his house for the first time, my heart raced with a mix of excitement and apprehension. After a month of chatting online, I was about to step beyond the screen into a new chapter of my life. I was about to meet Stephen in person for the first time. Surprisingly, he lived just a 15-minute drive away. Taking a deep breath to calm my nerves, I knocked on the weathered wooden door. It creaked open, revealing Stephen's warm smile, which immediately put me at ease. Welcome to my humble abode, your presence graces my domain, fair master, he joked, adding a playful touch of gamer lingo. I laughed softly. Some of that gaming talk might go over my head, but thank you. This place is cozy. Do you live here alone? I asked, glancing around at the neatly arranged space. Nope, fair princess, he replied with a grin. I live with my mom. She has the ground floor, and I've got the top floor all to myself. Come on, I'll give you the grand tour. Stephen's home wasn't extravagant, but it was charming and full of personality. Shelves lined with well-thumbed classics, a stack of board games, and a perfectly arranged computer setup painted a picture of someone genuine and thoughtful. His quirks, evident in every corner, made the space feel uniquely his. We spent the afternoon talking and laughing, discovering shared interests that deepened our connection beyond the digital realm. Meeting in person added a layer of closeness I hadn't anticipated. He was as kind and witty as he'd been online, and his easy humor made me feel at ease. As the sun began to set, Stephen suggested a walk in the nearby park. The cool breeze accompanied our conversation, which flowed seamlessly, dissolving any lingering nervousness. Wait, you didn't celebrate your birthday? He asked, surprised, during a lull in our talk. No, I admitted quietly, I didn't feel like it, especially after the argument with my dad. Stephen gave me a sympathetic look. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure he'll come around, he's your dad, after all. At first, his words seemed kind, soothing even, but over time, I realized there was an edge to his concern. What began as a blossoming relationship turned into something suffocating. As we started dating, Stephen's affection grew possessive. He wanted me constantly available, either talking to him on the phone or online. If I chatted with anyone else, he'd get angry, cloaking his jealousy with statements like, I just want to protect you. I believed him. Why did I believe him? His mother's disapproval only made things worse. Though she'd never met me, she dismissed me outright. The strain of knowing she didn't approve was compounded by Stephen's constant defense of her. Not every parent is perfect. Just look at your dad, he'd say. At least my mom cares about me. That hurts, Stephen, I'd reply, trying to make him see the damage his words caused. But you know I'm the one who loves you, right? Your dad doesn't love you like I do. Stop complaining about your life and try to compromise, he'd add, his tone more commanding than caring. When he suggested a secret wedding, I was too worn down to resist. Stephen convinced me that my dad wouldn't approve and didn't truly care about me. Blinded by what I thought was love, I went along with it, believing his assurances over my own instincts. Looking back, I wonder how I let it get so far. Each step I took closer to Stephen, I seemed to lose more of myself. I reluctantly agreed to marry him in a quiet, somber ceremony. Deep down, I knew it was a risk, but I felt trapped by my circumstances. You might think I was weak, but the weight of my upbringing and insecurities had shaped me, leaving me unsure of how to stand up for myself. I often blamed my inability to fight back on my own failings. In the months that followed, I began to see a side of his mother I hadn't anticipated, a side filled with cruelty and malice. Her every action seemed designed to make me miserable. It started with subtle, cutting remarks and escalated into relentless emotional torment. "Is this supposed to be food? My son can't eat this mess. Make it again, you fool," she'd sneer. "Why is this place so filthy? Are you blind?" Her harsh words chipped away at my self-esteem until I felt utterly worthless. Stephen, meanwhile, was a passive observer, locked away in his room with his video games and music. His detachment left me isolated, bearing the brunt of his mother's venom alone. I missed my dad terribly and regretted every fight we'd ever had. It was my anger that had driven him away, and now I had no one to turn to. One day, feeling feverish, I lay down on the couch, hoping for a brief reprieve. Just as I was beginning to drift off, a sudden splash of icy water shocked me awake. Margaret stood over me, her face twisted with disdain. "What the hell are you doing on our couch? Did you get the groceries like I told you?" she barked. Too weak to argue, I didn't reply. "I see, you expect me to do all the work while you laze around, you devil," she spat, slapping me hard across the face before calling for Stephen. That was my breaking point. "I'm done," I shouted. "I won't be your punching bag anymore. Find someone else to torment because I'm leaving." But as I turned to go, something heavy struck the back of my head, and the world went dark. When I came to, I found myself in a dimly lit room. My head throbbed as I struggled to sit up. Where was I? The sound of approaching footsteps sent a chill down my spine. Crawling toward the noise, I reached a metal door with a small window. It creaked open, and there was Stephen, grinning cruelly. "Is my wife afraid of the dark?" he mocked. "Stephen, please let me out. This isn't funny," I begged, tears streaming down my face. "Shut up. This is what you get for disrespecting my mother. Maybe you'll learn to behave down here," he sneered. Desperation consumed me as he slammed the window shut, plunging me into darkness. Alone in the cold, I felt fear give way to anger. How had my life come to this? I reached into my pocket and felt the shattered remains of my phone. To my astonishment, the screen still flickered faintly. Trembling, I dialed the only person who might still care, my father. 3 agonizing days later, hope arrived in the form of a car pulling into the driveway. My heart raced as I heard firm footsteps approach the house. The door burst open, and there he was, my father. His presence was a beacon of strength and relief. He didn't come alone. The police followed him, storming into the house to confront Stephen and Margaret. Their protests were feeble, their lies transparent. "What have you done to my daughter, you monsters?" my father bellowed. "I was going to let her go, I swear," Stephen stammered, but his words fell on deaf ears. My father turned to him, his voice filled with disgust. "You're nothing but a coward. You will pay for what you've done." As I stepped out of that dark basement and into the sunlight, I felt a surge of determination. This ordeal had tested me, but it also revealed my strength and the power of unwavering love. I decided to leave Georgia and start anew in California with my dad. I vowed never to let anyone silence me again and to be more cautious in trusting others. The scars of this experience would remain, but they would serve as a reminder of my resilience and the promise of a brighter future ahead.